So, hello guys. I'm really glad to see you here. And so, you know, now the conference is almost finished. We're all tired, and now it's time for some entertainment again. So, yeah, let's see. I come from Tallinn, Estonia. It's a beautiful city. Hopefully, it will be the next location for KotlinConf. You never know. And, but it's also famous for one more thing. You know, the famous Danish flag that was actually is the oldest national flag. It was actually, came from the skies in Tallinn while the Danish king was conquering my beautiful city. So, this is the place where it happened, how it looks now. So you're welcome to visit. But that was not relevant to Kotlin. What is relevant is that Tallinn is really close to the island of Kotlin. And it looks like this, the island. And this is actually, there is a city on the island called Kronstadt. And this is actually where I get my cap from. So some people did not get it the last time. So have you been at a programming puzzlers talk before? Yeah, most have been. That's great. For the rest, I'll just explain it really quickly. So I will going to present you short programs. I have errors and warnings disabled in my IDE, so don't try to get hints from that. So we will be guessing what do they print, and then we will vote for the correct answer. We've did it with the hands before. Now we will try to use the new high-tech solution from JetBrains, the same that you have seen in the quiz section in the booth. So then we will run the code in the real IDE, so there's no fooling you around. And if you can raise your hand quickly and explain why it printed what it printed, so you will get this small souvenir from my city, this liquor called Vana Tallinn, Old Tallinn. So, and of course, the big disclaimer here, don't ever do this in your code. So this is for entertainment purposes only. So Kotlin was, of course, designed to avoid Java puzzlers, but ideal programming languages. It's not ideal, so it's pragmatic. It has its puzzlers of its own. There are coming even more and more of them as new APIs are introduced. So hopefully we will have this talk next year as well. And yeah, and you will vote online. So let's now try. So this is the thing they didn't have before. So please have your phones ready. Either scan this QR code or just enter that URL, code.quiz.jetbrains.com. The thing is, I've been told that if you have some connection interruption or in Safari browser, you just reload the same page and it hopefully should work, or shouldn't. Yeah, just don't use Safari if you can. We're at the Kotlin Almost Android conference, so no iPhones allowed. And yeah, but hopefully it will work for you because it did work for the quizzes. So I'm not sure how many people do we have here already. So does it show me? Is it? Yeah, maybe we'll get online people as well connecting. We'll see. So Svetlana, can I push the start game? People will still be able to join, right? Okay, great. So let's see if the internet also works. So if the technology fails, we can always go back to the hand voting, I hope. So it doesn't do anything. I press the start game, but okay. Let's start with the first puzzler, and we'll see what happens next. So the first puzzler is really easy. Okay, maybe too many people. I don't know. Like, you know, technological innovations always fail. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it actually works. So yeah, unfortunately, you now have few time to actually answer it, but if you can try already. And the thing is that it's really simple one. So in this case, you don't need to read much code. So you just, as a normal Java developer, you just take a null and call toString on it, and you don't know what will happen. So we still have some seconds left, and we know that Kotlin has promised us that we will never get null pointer exceptions, right? Because of the new type system, and the language is so good. So, and that's why we can have these kind of answers. So let's now try to run it. And yeah, the thing is that you still get null. So who can explain? I saw a hand right here. He was the first one.
Okay, so the reason the Kotlin has the overload for nullable types, so it's kind of extensions for toString and maybe hashcode, if I remember correctly. So yeah, 0 for hashcode, null for toString, etc.
Okay, what is the type of null?
Nothing question mark.
Yeah, it's nothing question mark, and okay, and nothing actually does it derive from any. So where is toString defined in Kotlin? Can you say?
Then I believe it's defined as extension for nothing question mark.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. So if we navigate there, and let's see, like the leaderboard also we should have here. But yeah, toString is actually not a part of any class. It's just an extension function on any question mark. So yeah, that's why you can call it on null and you get a reasonable answer. But some Java developers, of course, are freaked out. but that's okay. So now let's look next. So in Kotlin we have this nice progressions and sequences, and we can step over them as well. So the thing here is that what this kind of thing will print. So you can always abuse APIs, right? So let's try to start the voting. So the voting started, so I can probably help you in the meantime a little bit. So basically, if you do the sequence skipping every other 2, so you will get something like this, right? And then what happens if you skip every third, or if you take every third after that? So that's yours to guess. So still have some seconds for the voting. And let's actually start it. Okay, that's not what I expected. But yeah, it always happens when you do the live code stuff. So yeah, and this is the correct answer. So who can answer? Any hands? No? Really? Yeah, there's one. Okay, so, the mic went well, sorry.
So as far as I know, the step function basically takes this sequence and just creates another sequence with the same range with a step 2. And the step 3 still takes the same range and just changes the step size.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. But can you explain where is 9 here? Or like why? Or actually 1 for 7, so why 10 is not here? Yeah, that would be actually the correct answer if it was the case.
I have a guess, but I don't know it exactly. So I would guess that in the step 2 it realizes that 10 would never be reached and then takes it out of the sequence.
Yeah, that's actually also correct. So yeah, thanks, you get the bottle. So let's really, yes, let's check this. So really is that the step is actually a parameter in a closed range. So it's because the range can be infinite. So that's you cannot pre-calculate that. So that's basically when you use the step function, it will just change the step inside of the closed range. But for some reason, it also checks for negative here. You can see like a nice code. I don't know if it's tested thoroughly, because here it checks that it's only positive, but here it still supports the negative case for some reason. But But yeah, but the thing is, if you dig any further, is that actually this last parameter here is not used as is. It's actually, it will recalculate the last parameter, checking if it will be included or not. And if you use step 2 times, you will actually you have already skipped 10 when you did step 2. That's why you don't get it with 3. So, but as usual, don't do that in your code. So let's go further. So this is, again, a simple code. Let's try to start the voting. And yeah, this is a leaderboard. Some people are answering nicely. So you have 40 seconds, and there's like not much happening here. You just have a variable a, which is of type int, I guess. So you compare it with some values, and you print something. Like, should be really easy, right? Some basic code. So let's see. Okay, now I think we're ready to run it. So let's see. And the run roll, and yeah, it doesn't compile. So, any hands? Yeah, there's a hand there.
The double equal is sugar for the any dot equals, which for int would be equals taking an int as a parameter, and because 1 is a string, it doesn't compile.
Yeah, but in Java, the signature of equals is actually, it will take any object as a parameter. So yeah, I've been also told that, this equal is just a synonym for the equals method on the JVM, but it apparently is not quite the case. So there is a special case in the compiler, I guess. But can you tell me how to fix the code?
Depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, that's, that's a good question. For example, so that it will compile and run.
I'd remove the double quotes around the 1 in the if statement.
You mean here, yeah?
The line above.
Yeah, you can remove the quotes here, but there is also an easier way. You can actually fool the compiler, and then now it will accept. But you will get the bottle if you say what will be the result now.
I guess it will be no match.
That's the wrong answer, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah. So anyone can guess something else? There is a hand there. The guy with a blue shirt, yeah.
Anything because, sorry, thank you. It doesn't print anything because the code is wrongly indented because the else actually matches the second if not.
That's correct. You get the bottle, and yes, we don't get anything. So it's nothing, and it's not Kotlin.nothing, it's just nothing, you know. And yeah, the reason is that the code is actually executed like, or like you can fix it like this, basically. So this, do you know one language, programming language, where you cannot have this puzzler? Actually, you can have this puzzler in any programming language. With Curly, yeah. The only language that will enforce this else would be Python. So actually, this is what we get if we execute that. So this puzzler even exists in Java language, so Kotlin is not any worse. So let's take the next one. So yeah, I need not to forget to press these buttons here. But yeah, this one, before you vote, let's look at it a little bit. So we have a number. We do something that in high school they told us we are not supposed to be doing. We're dividing by 0. And then we are actually like checking if it's still a number. We can print it, but of course it can be something else as well. So it can maybe throw an exception, or maybe it will not compile. So we never know. So let's start the voting. So the first question here, of course, is what is the result of this division? So I have my own opinions, but this kind of voting is harder to express it, unfortunately. So we'll see if I will use this system next year. So, and in the meantime, I will tell you that I really miss the ternary operator here. So every time I write this kind of thing, I feel a pain. But yeah, let's run it. And the answer is false. So I thought I saw the hand here first. The gentleman in blue.
Right. I think what happens is it returns a none, but none is a double, but it's not equal to none because nothing is.
Yeah, this is completely correct. So dividing 0 by 0 is the one option how to get none, because these are doubles, actually. So if you would divide by integer, you would get an exception, of course. But yeah, and you said that none is not equal none, yeah. So it's not equal even itself. So, but do you know what? The problem is that the correct answer is C. Is actually, it depends. And I think you still get the bottle because that's a correct explanation. But if we take this code and paste it to the Kotlin playground, which is actually uses Kotlin.js right now. So let's run it. And we get. Hope that it's not down or is the Wi-Fi problem. Yeah, but we get true. So, and you know what? I would say that actually Kotlin behaves really correctly here. Is that if you run this code in Java it would also be true. Why? Is because in Java the equals method for all the objects is defined by first checking the reference equality. And if you have exactly the same reference here, both, like it contains none, so actually the references are still equal, and you get true. But actually it should be compared by value, because by value the specification for floating point numbers says that none should not be equal to none. So that's the trick here, and Kotlin, at least on the JVM, at least version 1.3.61, actually wins here over Java, but it actually worked incorrectly before. So applause to JetBrains for fixing stuff. So let's take the leaderboard still. So the next one was submitted by 2 guys even. So again, an easy thing. You get, you define a foo class with 1 property, and then you create an instance of it, and then you just increment it. It's a bad thing, it's mutable, but still it's a puzzler. So, and then we print what we have here. So let's try to start the voting. So you can think that either it's still test, for some reason it will not happen. These kind of things happen in puzzlers sometimes. Or you can think it will be a normal thing, that it will be appended, or maybe it will not compile for some strange reason, or maybe something completely else. So you vote. So a few more seconds, and we're launching it. And the problem is, I will scroll it a little bit. We see a lot of interesting stuff here. Do you know what that is? Anyone wants to comment on it? It is already submitted.
Yes.
Actually, quite a long time ago. But yeah.
Sorry. I think that is because you are using the operator in the symbol way, I think. And there is a nullable. And the only way to call this operator is when you call it with the nameified operator. I am clear about.
Yeah, but can you tell us what happened first? Okay, basically we crashed the compiler, so if it's not obvious, yeah. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, so the correct answer is not C; it's actually D. Yeah, we crashed the compiler. So, but because we are software developers, we actually deal with unstable software written by other people all the time. So we always need to find the workarounds. So, can you please tell us how do we fix the code so it will work? Can you guess?
You utilize bang operator after bus. No. I think you can fix that using the. I mean, after bar you dot question mark dot plus assign test, but that will don't append the test or the before test. That will just return the value of the operation.
Anyone has a better idea? I think there was a hand back there, just behind you.
Would it help to put parentheses around the baz.bar so that the operator applies to the appropriate thing?
A thing like this?
Yes.
Okay, let's try. I haven't tried this one myself. It still fails. Yeah, actually, I can tell you the thing that probably we're not going to demonstrate it, but it actually works with Kotlin.js. It fails. It fails only with on the JVM, and I would say that there's an easy way to fix it. I think the original author proposed something like this. So let's see if this will work. Yeah, this works. But the person who had the microphone last, what should we do to get the option B?
Which one?
Oh, like anyone. Yeah, you add data. So yeah, so we have forgotten data as well here, but it's easy thing to forget. But yeah, in this case, it works perfectly. So the thing is that actually, but on the other hand, I think the even better option to fix it is actually to get rid of the nullability here. So as I said, that if you don't need nullability, don't use it, and then everything works perfectly. So I can remove the data, and then we get the same thing like the standard toString thing. So, yeah, sure, it should be plus, yeah. But yeah, anyway, so that's the puzzle. I don't know who gets the bottle. Maybe you, yeah. So let's get to the next one. So an easy one again. We have an extension function called toConsole. And that just prints stuff, and we just create a list. And do you know of this kind of construct in Kotlin? That's a nice one, really useful. Then we create an int array, and then we print 3 things. So now the question is, what will it print? There are a lot of different options, actually, for each of the elements. I think quite a few of the different things can be printed. So depending on what that is and how the lists and array do print. So you still can think a little bit, and please vote, because those who get most of the correct answers, even randomly, get one of these. So now the time comes. So let's try. And it's actually something else again. So actually, when you get this option in the puzzler, you need to always consider it very carefully. So who can explain at least something of that? Because I see that the least favorite option was A, but the rest were quite popular. So anyone? I don't see any hands, but he sees. Yeah.
I think that the first is the lambda expression, and it prints the lambda reference. The second is the...
So you think this is lambda reference?
Yes.
No, it's incorrect. So any other ideas what that first thing is?
It's the int array as like the JVM representation. And
Yeah, that's the default toString of an array. Yeah, how can you explain how the hell is it on the first place?
It thinks it's an array initializer.
Yeah, but we have an array here as a last to console invocation.
I don't know about that one.
So anyone? Ideas? What's it? Yeah, the first line is right here again. So anyone? Yeah, there is a hand there.
The 42, it's an array with one value, which is 42 inside it.
So you think that this is an array, or?
Yeah, I would say so. Declaration of an array.
Actually, I think everyone knows that it's a lambda returning 42, right? There's another hand here. Okay, that's a difficult one. I lied. It's not an easy one.
Hey. The first one looks like a Java internal array, literal with 42 initialized as one value, and the second one seems to be like a Kotlin array with one
they are, but
which was defaultly initialized with 0.
Yes, can you say why the array is in the first place? Why it's before the other things?
Because it's called firstly. That is 42.
Okay, maybe you try.
About first item, I think it's a result of a compiler optimization, so it's...
No, it's incorrect, sorry. There's a hand here.
It's just formatting. The first array is actually to the line of int array of 1, and then you have curly braces to initialize, right?
Yeah, that's
And then
correct.
the second is list, and then val array is assigned to console, which is returns unit. That's why I get unit.
Yeah, that's correct. So you can write this code like this, actually. So, and actually, I have, this puzzler was submitted several times to me. The other option had something like this here, like print debug. And it still would give the same. It will still be, the lambda will still be part of the int array invocation. So don't do that at home. So let's skip to the next one. So, and actually this, I think we should give an applause to this guy, Grigory Yurkov, because he has submitted quite a few puzzlers this year. He was the most active submitter. So please, if he's watching, then... So let's see, now we have a function called weirdPrint, takes an array list inside, just calls the print. We're also doing some nasty cast here, I don't know why, but we are catching the exception just in case if it fails. And then we are missing the ternary operator again, and just calling this function. So time to vote. So we can either get the hello, because this is false. Obviously, we should run this. We should pass this to weirdPrint, or we'll get the null pointer exception that we were promised that we will never get, or we'll get the unsupported operation exception. But this one we should probably, probably will catch the class cast exception and throw this one. I don't know. Or maybe it's not correct code. So let's try to run it. And the correct answer is that you get the null pointer. So, and there's no obvious way to get it here. So any ideas? Yep, there's a hand. Please keep your hand.
So argument A is array list of any. So T is any, so we can cast println is unit, so we can cast unit as any. So there is no exception.
Yeah, but why do we get null pointer from where? So we don't have any nulls here. No, not even any nullable types. I think there's a hand back there. Yeah, they're coming with the microphone.
So actually, when we don't specify the function type, it's a unit, and unit is not nullable.
No, actually, in this case, the T will be, it will be derived by the compiler, of course, and so it will not be units, because we're actually returning, the return type function of this function is T, because it will derive it from here. But when we call it, is actually, what is it in the compiler thinks it has derived? Anyone? Just one word, and you get a bottle. No, it's not Boolean. Any other options? Was it? Yeah, it's not any. Actually, the trick here is that there is this thing. If I remove this thing, then it will be any, yes. But it can't be any because of this covariance, invariance, whatever thing. I never remember which one is which. So you remember that the array list of int is not the same as array list of string. So anyone? Just one correct word.
So,
nothing, yeah, nothing is correct. So basically the compiler derives the only type. So you can get a bottle again. You can give it to a friend. So the compiler thinks that any will not actually work here. And the compiler thinks that, OK, nothing is what is left. So, and as you know that in Kotlin, nothing is actually, it's actually the subtype of any other type. So that's why it's always will work if nothing else works. So yeah, and another thing is that if you look at the bytecode, because the compiler knows that no function can ever return nothing. So it's not possible to get an instance of nothing. And that's why it's just in case it adds throw null after the invocation to make completely sure that, you should not get here. But for some reason we did get. So that's a trick. So nothing is very powerful type. You'll see it a lot, some more of it soon. So let's, yeah. Now we have, next one is pretty trivial. So we have the tail rec, which is a really cool feature of any programming language. In Kotlin, you need to be explicit with tail rec, and you just call itself, apparently, and like if it wasn't tail rec, I would think it would be a Stack Overflow, because like recursion cannot go infinitely, but tail rec is a great tool to actually make your recursion like never end. So you can use it for that. And yeah, or there are other options as well. So maybe it will not compile, or maybe it will be something else. So 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Let's run. And it doesn't compile. So anyone from JetBrains to explain? Sveta, maybe you?
It looks for the invocation must be returned. Yeah, must be the last expression and must be returned from the function, and this is what compiler looks for. So if you place return, then it will compile.
No, it will not. Actually, the problem is with this construct. So you can have it like this. So if you make it like this, it will actually compile and it will run infinitely, because tail rec actually works. it really will rewrite your recursion into infinite loop. But with that thing, I would like somebody from JetBrains to get a bottle. Or so what is this syntax? So the error message here, this syntax is reserved for future use. To call a reference and close it in parentheses. Yeah, you can do that as well. Yeah, that will be some monstrous code, but it's much better to just remove it. So anyone from yeah.
Not actually from JetBrains, but I'll give it a go. Basically, the colon syntax says get me a reference to this function. But as it says, you're not allowed to, that syntax doesn't call that reference. So you don't actually call the recursive function as the last, at the last line of the function, and so it's not tailrec.
Yeah, that's a good explanation, but still we don't know what is it reserved for. But
fair enough.
But still, I think you can get the bottle. If nobody from JetBrains wants to get it, that's fine. So next one. We have a function called sum with 2 parameters with default values. So default values is a perfectly good feature of Kotlin. I really miss it in other languages. And we just print the value of the first one. So seems easy to me. So let's go and actually vote. So I would think that hello world probably should be printed. That would make sense to me. So there, for some reason, there is another option of null word. I don't know how the null can get there, because we don't have any nullable types here. And or there will be a null pointer exception, which is also like not very expected at this point. Or maybe something else. So several seconds remaining, and we run it. And it actually, what we get is an unfortunate thing again, because if I scroll it, but let's try to give the Kotlin.js compiler a try. So let's paste it here quickly. So and we just call it in main. So sum and go. So that one is a little bit slow, right? Yeah. But it's actually, yeah, it's wrong. Actually, it should print "Hello World." I don't know. Maybe it's some old thing from a previous run. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a bug in the play Kotlin. Anyway, yeah, I can tell you that the Kotlin.js actually prints "Hello World" as expected, the option A. So it can, but not this time. So, yeah, that's going to happen during live demos. But yeah, anyone can say that, can comment on this somehow. Anyone wants to comment something?
Yeah, I expect that the lambda is spawned earlier than param2, so apparently it has a problem. It should be nullable because, well, actually it should output null world, but the compiler apparently gets a hiccup there. So param2 is bound later than param1. That's my guess.
I can actually show you like a fix here. And you can keep the mic. So let's run this code, and then you will still explain what happens. So we can still get null from here if you like. If we don't need inline, then we should skip it. So don't use keywords that you don't need.
No, I'm out.
So there's a hand there.
So when it's inline, it's basically just putting them down like they're local variables, and then you have an illegal forward reference. And then when it's not inline, basically when you have the synthetic defaults method that the compiler generates, Param2 is not set, which at the actual bytecode level means that its value is just null, and it uses that.
Yeah, it's like the order of initialization here. And it's interesting that it actually works correctly in Kotlin.js. Unfortunately, I couldn't demonstrate it. But there's another option to this puzzler, and you can get a bottle. So if you run it like this, so okay, I need to put inline back here. So then you have an interesting result as well, which is worth knowing. So the compiler error is now that the using of one inline parameter in the other is not supported. So for some reason it is supported if they are not lambdas, but it's not. Or for some reason it is supported in Kotlin.js. But yeah, it was announced that we are getting the new compiler anyway, so probably it will all be fixed. So let's now have this one. So there is a cool new experimental feature in Kotlin called contracts. And you can actually, like in the real world, you can still break it. You can define a contract and you can do something else. So let's try to vote. This one is a little bit longer, but I'll try to explain. So yeah, the options are on the right. So yeah, we actually define with the contract that this function will run its lambda exactly one time. And obviously, we are not running it at all. So then we have a function hello that takes some string here. It assigns it inside of the lambda, and it returns. So something that is not possible in Java to mutate closure, but here you can. And then we do the result, and we call plus on it, and do it again. So you have voted. Let's try. And we get null, null, which is something also we're not supposed to be getting from Kotlin ever, but anyone can explain what's happening here? Obviously, we're breaking the contract, but why does it work?
Sorry, I actually need more bottles here. I ran out.
I think some of the volunteers still have them because there's enough bottles.
Okay, so what we're doing here is, so we're not calling that block that we were passing in to run exactly once, but at this point the compiler isn't verifying what we're telling it in the contract, so it just believes us and unsafely lets us use that hello function like this.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. So actually, you still can get null in a non-nullable type if you just break the contract. So you can use this powerful tool to actually fix any problems in your code from now on. But there's another question here. So why does this not give us a null pointer exception? Anyone can guess? Yeah, it's not extension. I think there was a hand. Sorry, there's a hand there. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
As far as I remember, plus function is an extension either on any question mark or string question mark. So you can call actually now plus now, and it would be string concatenation, which gives us now. And in this case, we have two now instances.
Unfortunately, it's not an extension function. As you can see, just a regular function on a string type.
Okay. That's not the function that would be called.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, compiler will actually change this to the string appender. Yeah, there is a special treatment of the plus, so it will work the same as if you have written like this. And you know what? Java compiler does not run the does not use the string builder anymore. So Kotlin right now, starting from Java 9, is a little bit slower than Java with appending strings. I hope they will fix it. So there's a next puzzler now. So I think we're running out of time, so let's going to be the last one, unfortunately. And this one is the coroutines. So we have a function, suspend function, and we just delay for 100 milliseconds, and we print. And we just then run our suspending function. So let's vote. Voting takes too long because this is an easy one, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm already ready to run it, so in some seconds. Unfortunately, I cannot increase. I think there are a lot of feature requests to the quiz tool now for the next year. So is it X, Kotlin unit? Unit should not be here, but unit always sneaks from somewhere in Kotlin. And we run it, and it doesn't compile. So let's see how many people have guessed that. And actually, like almost a fourth. So anyone can explain why doesn't it compile? Hand here. Right here, first row.
It's not a suspended function. It's calling run as a scope extension, and then it's just, well, it's not suspended.
Okay, so how to fix it?
Call launch instead.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So it's easy, like Kotlin has many interesting functions that can be run on anything, and so it's easy to forget which one should you use. Actually, I have one more cool coroutines puzzler. If you allow me, we can do that as well. So let's take this one as the last one. So yeah, we have another coroutine puzzler. So this time we're using run blocking, so we're not cheating. It's really is going to be run in a coroutine scope. And let's just start the voting. And yeah, and we use this kind of interesting function here, suspend coroutine or return. It's declared that it should return string, but we are giving it a 42. So if it's JavaScript, I would know what will happen, but if it's not JavaScript. So what do you think? Is it 42? Or maybe we get a class cast, or maybe it should not compile. So we have only a few seconds left. And let's run it. And actually, that's not something it's not something I expected, actually. Let's, I have problem with my class path probably here, but there is another function. It's basically the same puzzler with another function. Yeah. The thing here is that it still returns 42 from a string function. So how is this possible at all on the JVM? Can somebody guess? I think there is a hand.
I think it's when it's going to resume the continuation. I think the continuation takes in any. So that would just pass it back up the chain. Guessing, 100% guessing.
It is mostly correct. Do you know, to get the bottle, you need to say what is the signature of this, what is the return type of this function on the JVM?
Void.
What's it?
Void, because it has another parameter continuation.
No, it's not. Otherwise, it could not return 42. So anyone can tell me what is the return type of this function on the JVM? Yeah, there's a hand here.
I'm not 100% sure, but I would guess a deferred of string.
No, it's not correct. So because we are out of time, I'm answering it myself. Actually, if you don't know it, then all suspend functions, they actually return object on the JVM. So type safety is lost under the hood, but the compiler, of course, still knows the Kotlin return type here. And the reason for that is that this function actually can return a very special value, which is coroutine suspended, or something. Let me find it. Yeah, this is a special value that can be returned from here, this one, coroutine suspended. And this is why all coroutine functions can return anything, basically. So if the compiler is not checking this function much, because this function is an intrinsic function for the compiler, is actually the implementation is not there. It's substituted by the compiler. So that's why you can use it to get all kind of interesting things. For example, you can get an instance of nothing, or at least you can try. But I think that's going to be all for today. Thank you very much, and please submit more puzzlers.